Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give you our weekly status update of where we are and where we're going in our PA 663 class for the spring 2014 quarter. I just posted an announcement that you should have gotten regarding a summary of your group discussion. I kind of went through all of the group discussions from the various groups and highlighted some major themes and some of the things that kind of stood out, and posted that in the announcement page. Now you'll notice that I found I kind of tabulated the responses for the substantive question regarding the Vern Lewis article, and relative value was seen as the most appropriate method or appropriate manner in which to answer Key's question. But there's some other tidbits in there as well, so please take a look at your announcements from on Blackboard, and also you should receive an email with that same information. Now, I did point out some people's names who actually made comments that stood out a little bit. Now, while I don't want to leave anyone out, at the same time it's hard to include everyone's name, so please don't feel slighted if your name doesn't appear there. In addition, in terms of the group discussion, I thought the comments were good and the discussions were good. What I'd like you to do, though, is to ensure that for each of your substantive comments, each of your substantive posts, that they are separate posts. So for your substantive 1 post, it will be on a separate entry or a separate page from your substantive 2 posts. And that way it'll be easier to follow the discussion as opposed to reading both of your responses in one post. And in the same vein, same manner, when you make your responsive post, it will more easily follow the substantive post if you're responding to a particular question or answer. I hope that's clear, and if you do have questions, please let me know. But essentially, I'd like you to make separate posts or comments for each of your substantive questions. And then when you make your responses to those substantive questions, it'll be easier for me to follow, and I think easier for you all to follow as well. All in all, I think it was a good first group discussion. Now, I did look at your quizzes, and unfortunately some of the grades were lower than I anticipated, and maybe even lower than you had hoped. And that was really across the board. So there were a few students who had higher grades, but for the most part the grades were a little bit lower. Hopefully, as a result of seeing the style of the quiz and getting a little bit more familiar with that, the way that I pose the questions, that those grades will improve. But if you do have questions on the content or the material at any time, please feel free to give me a call, email, and I'll be happy to discuss these issues with you, any of the questions you have in more detail. And as you know, we're in Module 3 where we're discussing ethics, and there are 2 pretty good articles, interesting articles on ethics and budgeting, and how there is really no theory on budgeting ethics. And really, when we're taught budgeting in public finance, a lot of times ethics is left out of the discussion. So you may ask yourself why ethics is included as a lecture or a topic in a public budgeting and finance course, but I guess I would just simply point to the City of Bell as an example of why ethics is important. And in addition, since we're entrusting public officials and public managers, people who we really don't see and don't know in many ways, with our money, with our resources, I think it's important to ensure, or at least focus on ethics and make sure that we're aware of unethical behavior. We're also aware of things that should be done to ensure that ethical conduct is done at the local level of government, even at the state and the federal level. But it's important to focus on ethics because we want to make sure that those who are entrusted with our funds, with our money, with our monies, are doing the right thing. And that's the primary reason why we focus on it, or we talk about it here in this course. And we do it early in the quarter so that we can move on to some other topics. But I think ethics is the ground point, or the bottom line, where the public is looking to have trust in government, and without a strong ethical foundation, then a lot of times that trust is lost. Alright, so I'll see you all next week, and actually by video next week, and in a couple of weeks in person. Alright, thanks.